Nation. Join us live tonight for 3 amazing shows with 3 amazing hosts. In our first hour, join us for Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone T.S. Mitchell. In our second hour, join us for the Political Corner with host Kevin Hezekiah. And finally, in our third hour, join us for The Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swiger. Source Nation, here are your hosts, Tyrone T.S. Mitchell, Kevin Hezekiah, and Dr. Samori Swiger.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome to Power Over Tomorrow. I'm your host and resident financial advisor, Tyrone T.S. Mitchell. We are coming to you courtesy of T.S. Mitchell Financial, LLC, in Columbia, South Carolina. And remember, T.S. Mitchell Financial is a registered investment advisory firm. The information that we provide on this program is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer for any solicitation toward any stock or investments. Remember, stock and investments do have risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. So continue to hit us up with your questions, your comments, and your concerns regarding your financial issues, and we will definitely do what we have to get an answer for you. Remember, the website is tsmitchell.com. Remember, the phone number to hear from you today is 914. Whoa. What's going on? You know what? I've been talking so much. I'm mixing up all my phone numbers. I've been just get off one show, going to another. Let me get it right. Let's get it. Let's rewind this down. The phone number, ladies and gentlemen, is 619-924-0933. That's right. Don't roll your eyes at me now. I'm only human. That's right. I can make one mistake. The last time I thought I made a mistake, I was correct. All right. So the number is 619-924-0933. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely want to thank you for your listening ear. And we do have some things that we need to take care of before we get into our program today. And that foremost is to say thank you to our sponsors who make this program possible. Our sponsors are Zulina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Production, Revolution Mills, Renovation, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend Juice Bar Boutique, Urban Grandstand Digital, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Yes. There's one thing that I truly enjoy doing, and that is giving credit where credit is due. And even though sometimes folks may roll their eyes, but that's okay. That means they're still looking, all right? And one thing that we need to be looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is an answer. Is an answer to a lot of the things that's happening in this country financially. And not only does it happen in the country, but it's happening in our homes. It's happening in our wallets. And that is something called debt. So we're going to kick off a series starting this evening. And we're going to talk about debt, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Tonight we're going to just do an overview, but we definitely want to hear from you. I mean, I'm sure that there are many of us out there now, especially after the holidays, you find yourself with too much month at the end of the money. All right, so we're going to talk about this. And more than just talk about it, we're going to work toward a solution. So, Station, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about debt, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Nation, we'll be right back.
Source Nation, stay tuned. You're listening live to Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone Mitchell.
With me is T.S. Mitchell, the independent and trusted financial advisor. T.S., how long have you been doing this?
I started my practice in 1984 when I was 19. I saw something happening and I wanted to make a difference.
You've helped a lot of families over the years. How do you do it?
Well, the first thing I try to do is build a relationship. I find out where you are, what are your goals, and where do you plan to be. From there, we try to design a plan that will help you reach your goals efficiently and economically too.
Do you need to have a lot of income to work with T.S. Mitchell Financial?
Well, if you can save $1.50 a day, then we can talk.
Appointments are available at 1201 Hampton Street, downtown Columbia. Online at tsmitchell.com and 803-744-3417. That's 803-744-3417.
Welcome back, Fourth Nation. You're listening live to Power Over Tomorrow with our resident financial advisor, Tyrone Mitchell.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Power Over Tomorrow. But right now you're with me. And we're going to talk a little bit about something called debt. And, of course, I want to hear from you. The number is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. You know, the Apostle Paul, he wrote that I am a debtor to the Greeks and to the barbarians. You know, when we think of debt, we often think of something that we are, something that we owe. You know, and also the songwriter once wrote that he paid a debt that he did not owe. We have a debt that we cannot. You know, yes, those are scriptural references, but it also points out that debt can reach all different aspects of our life, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional. There are many different ways that the debt in itself can reach us. What we have to understand is how does it apply and how can we properly handle it. Because when we don't properly handle something, it oftentimes causes us to make decisions that are not based on sound judgment. So we want our judgment to be sound. We want our decision-making process to be astute and to be to the point that it gets us to the place that we need to be. Now, where we need to be may not always be where we want to be, but is what is going to be most important for us. So when we understand debt, when we understand this aspect, it helps us and keeps us moving in the, as you say, in the right direction. Now, when we think of it, it's oftentimes reflected upon the financial aspect. And the reason for that is because we often find ourselves using debt to help make sure that we have the things that we need. You know, we go into debt many times when we have to buy a home. Why is that? Well, because we know we need to have a roof over our head, food on the table, and clothes on our back. Those basic essentials of life, and there are folks that are out there to help us acquire these things. Now, when they are trying to help us acquire these things, we have to be aware that that may be their business. And if they are in business, of course, they're going to look to get paid. So when you have a business or an entity that wants to get paid by lending you something or giving you something, you, me, we all must put ourselves in a position that when we get involved, when we sign contracts, when we shake the hand, and when we give our word on something, we're doing it in a way that does not allow us to become our own worst enemy. Don't become your own worst enemy. And how do we do that? Well, how do we become our own worst enemy? We'll address it that way. Well, we become our own worst enemy when we allow our emotions to really dictate our financial decision-making. When we allow emotions to dictate our financial decision making, it can lead us in a way that is not to our benefit. Case in point, have you ever seen someone who gets so mad at someone and they say, I'm going to fix them. I'm going to go out and buy a new this and buy a new that. Now, that person may be mad at someone else, but eventually they're going to have to come face to face with the person in the mirror. And as to why did you get yourself into debt because you was mad at someone, and now that person went on about their life, and you still stuck being angry, and now you got to pay the bill, the price for it too. So when we think about allowing emotions to dictate our financial decision making, it can be negative, but also it can be positive to some degree. If we have emotions and we say, well, you know what, I really want to get involved with the stock market. I think it's going to rise, and and people say, well, what are you basing it on? What are your studies? What are your analytical studies? And I don't know. I just got that feeling. Well, sometimes you can, go ahead and get involved with the stocks. And if you do it at the right time, you can see an appreciation in your value. Or other times, not speaking on in the investing side, but many times folks get involved with the lottery because of emotions. Wasn't it once said that in the New York State Lottery it was you got to be in it to win it? All right, and most folks found out if they choose it, they lose it. So when you find yourself making decisions, sometimes just take a moment and think twice. How often do you get phone calls on having to make a financial decision? On having to buy something. There's a solicitor on the other end, and the solicitor goes, well, you get it, you got to get it now. This is the last one. This is the last one we're selling today. Well, okay, you better hurry up and find someone to buy it. When you're being pushed, they are working on your emotions. And listen, I've been involved in the financial industry so many years. We are educated, trained, and skilled at not accepting no for an answer. That's right. We're taught. You got to get, here's a tidbit. Okay, listen, here's a tidbit. Is that you got to get 3 no's before you're accepted. All right? Have you ever noticed that when you go someplace and you don't want to buy something, that person will ask you again. And then you tell them no, and they ask you a second and a third time. They typically will ask you the same question or try and close you on the sale 3 different ways before they move on. So what I do sometimes is I say, okay, you got 3 chances to ask me, and, I'm going to give you 3 no's right now. No, no, no. All right? And they look at me like, well, I got a presentation to make. Listen, never be afraid to say no. Never. When it comes to you, your money, when it comes to the decisions that you have to make, don't be afraid to say no. Because if remember now, a no today doesn't always mean never tomorrow. All right. Someone once said, "What a promise delayed is not a promise denied." We have to slow down, and the reason why I point this out, and I think it's a good opportunity to talk about debt and the aspects of how we're going to use it in its form, is because of the fact we just come through the holiday season, and it was once a point in time where the holiday season or the Christmas buying season was once the day after Thanksgiving to possibly New Year's Day. All right, that was a holiday buying season. But what have we seen? We've seen it stretched back it went all the way back to Halloween, and now we see it stretching all the way back to Labor Day, the first Monday in September. Here it is in some places. You just get out of August where it was 100 degrees in many spots, and on Labor Day you're still rolling about 85, 90, and places are starting to play Christmas music and put up Christmas trees and talking about Christmas sales. And then once that part is over, there was once a time where New Year's Day was the end of it. And now you look at after the Christmas sales or after the holiday sales, and okay, but they extended that. So they extended it back to Labor Day, and now it extends all the way up into April 15th. That's right, because it blends in now with what? Tax refund season. So wait a minute, something that was once maybe 6 weeks long is now 6 months long. So for 6 months, you're having to battle against powers and principalities, all right, and professional people trying to get you to go into debt, trying to get you to buy things. And we've said it many times on this show, trying to get you to spend money you don't have, to buy things you don't need, to impress folks you don't like. That's debt. That's debt, because now when you're finished with it and it's said and done, you still have something that's, many times, is not bringing any value. And, and I'm not just saying this because, quote, unquote, as a special ed used to say, I got it made. No, I ain't got it made, but I'm still working on it. I'm still a work in progress. That's right. So when you shake your head at me, just say God ain't finished with him yet. All right. And I know God's not finished with a lot of y'all too, but we're in this boat together. We're in this boat together, and somebody's going to have to say, hey, let's drop anchor. Let's slow down a little bit and see what direction we need to go into. Well, the direction that we need to go into is a direction that's going to move us toward the North Star. When you're going north, you're going up. Debt is a way to bring us down. Debt is a way to have us going from side to side, east and west. But it's that moving in that north direction. We want our education to go up. We want the interest on our accounts to go up. We want our bank accounts to go up. The only thing we really don't want to go up is our weight. But depends upon how much fun you had over the holiday season. You probably have to readjust that schedule. When we think about this thing called debt, it can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing and also be an ugly thing. But these are some of the things we're going to address. We're going to talk about. The reason is because we're all going to come in contact with it. How we handle it now also educates our children on how they are going to handle it. Many times our children will learn about money, about things in life, based upon how they watch mom and dad handle things. If they don't see us saving money, they tend not to save. If they see us just spending and not paying bills, guess what they're going to do? They're going to spend and not pay bills. Now, we are going to have bills no matter where you go, because capitalism and commerce is what generates income, is what provides households, is what provides the essentials that we need in life. So those things are there, but all too often, we find people and ourselves just making decisions sometimes based on emotions. Now, we don't want emotions to be the sole measure of our decision making. Now, another thing that we have to be careful of is when we're making our decisions, emotions will cause us to make them in fear or in greed. Think about it. If you make your financial decisions based on fear, that's how a lot of folks get into debt. I gotta get this now. I gotta get this now. No, you don't. If I don't get this now, this is going to happen. That okay? Well, slow down. Are you going to lose your home? All right. Is your child in jail? Are you in need of a medical assistance? Sometimes out of those basic things that pertain to life and death, it can wait. Sometimes decisions on financial matters that do not pertain to life and death can wait. So don't make your decisions based on fear, but make it based on what? A sound mind. All right? The Lord didn't give us the spirit of fear, but it gave us a spirit of what? A sound mind. So, and how do you get a sound mind? That soundness of mind comes from what? Information, being strong. If I stand and I pound my chest, that chest sounds. It's a sound, a loud thud. Sound. That means it's strong. If you beat a drum and it gives a nice or sound to it, that means it's tight and it's strong. But if it's if it's a wimpy sound, no, you don't want that. You don't want your decisions. You don't want fear to cause you to be a wimp. Yeah, I said it. Because which is weak in mind. Okay, WIMP, weak in mind people. Okay, you don't want to be a weak in mind person. No. You want to be sound when it comes to your decision making, and that soundness will also help prevent you from making emotional decisions based on greed. Greed. It's not. Sometimes folks will go into debt because they want something before someone else has it. Okay, or they want it to stop someone else from getting it. Many times, people who have liquid assets will try and buy up property in certain neighborhoods just to prevent other folks from getting it. That's greedy. We used to call that a land baron. And they accumulate all this stuff, and then what typically happens? When they die, it goes right back to the state. It goes right back to the government. So you spend your life accumulating things out of greed. You don't want to do that either. So that's part of that decision making, going into debt. Now, if you're going to do something, if you're going to buy land, if you're going to make decisions, make sure those decisions are in a position to pay for themselves. There was one time where I remember when I first started in business, and I mention this oftentimes to a lot of folks who come to us about counseling for starting their business. And they, they ask them, what is it that what type of tips can I get from you, Mr. Mitchell? I said, well, one thing that you want to do is that you need to make sure you have a working budget for your business. And not just something in your head, but something down in writing. And the reason why you want to do that is because it puts you on a schedule. And better than just putting you on a schedule, it puts others on a schedule too. And oftentimes they say, well, what do you mean? Well, there are many times where when you're in business, your phone number is out there, your website is out there. People that are looking to do business with you or have you do business with them, they review your website. So it's not just customers that are reviewing your website. It's not just customers that are calling you on the phone. And also solicitors. And what are they soliciting? They're soliciting your business. And if they solicit your business, that means they want what? Money. So some type of exchange is going to occur. what I had to learn and what I share with other folks to learn is that have a schedule to when you are going to plan your advertising and marketing budget. Have an advertising and marketing budget. Now, if we will need to go into detail about the difference between advertising and marketing, we'll do that on one of the shows. But just understand this. Have a budget. Now, why do you need a budget? Well, one of the reasons is to help make sure the money is being allocated correctly. For those who are small business owners, ask yourself this question. How many times have you been approached by so-and-so's church or so-and-so's committee or this person's organization or that person's troop coming to you asking for donations or to purchase an ad in their brochure, in their what do they call those things? In their magazine, all right? How many times? If you're in business, it seems like every other week somebody's coming by, especially during the times where they're having, things such as a ball or a gala, and they want to make this elaborate book to hand out to everybody with the name of advertisers in there. I point this out to say this, is that if you are going to be a part of something like that, then you have to make sure that it's in your budget. When we used to get those type of solicitations come, oh, yes, for a good cause, write a check, and just writing money, and then there was no true measure of the return on investment, because it is an investment. That's why your advertising is a part of your investment for your business, and there was no true measure of return. But when we started telling folks, we do our budget for the year in October. Call me in October, November. We're gonna work on the budget in October. We're gonna review it in November. We're gonna make the decisions before the end of the year, so that way, come January 1st, we already have everything set for the upcoming year. Case in point, we're now in 2018. The advertising budget for 2018 didn't start this year. This was something that I worked on back in October of 2017. And then we did the research in November, and then by Thanksgiving, we eliminated and we began to choose what we were going to do. And then between Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, it was a matter of just putting things in order. So that way, come January 1st, we're up and running. And once we started working like that, it began to reduce the amount of debt that the business was going into. All right? And remember what we always say, the first business that everyone has to run is the business of you. So if you know that you want to do something for the upcoming year, try your best. Begin to develop a plan of not just a couple of weeks before, but go back several months and begin to plan. This way it gives you time to review all the things. And let me tell you, there are times where I said, well, you know what, I want to do this, I want to do that, and the first price that comes to me is you look at it and says, wow, that's a heavy price, but I think I can do it. And then you begin to try and formulate thoughts and measures on how you can extend yourself and sometimes overextend yourself to get what you think you need. You're moving into the realm of debt. But when you plan it out over a course of time, what typically happens is not only do you begin to think about how you can afford it, you also begin to think about how you can make it affordable. There's a difference. See, when you're figuring out how you can afford it, You're trying to reach the objective of the price that's before you. But when you look at how you can make it affordable, you're trying to bring it down to your objective. And I say, and I give that type of analogy because when it's time to invest, every investment, especially with mutual funds, has something called a prospectus. In the prospectus, it will give you the information about the investment. And one part of the information, it will be the investment objective. The objective of the investment is what they expect to do. Now, if the investment is, let's say, for instance, a growth-oriented investment, if it's geared to make to accept high levels of risk in small companies, that's the objective of the account. We're going to take on high levels of risk in small companies in an attempt to maximize our profits. That's the objective. But I look at the client, I say, well, what's your objective? If the client says, well, I don't want to take too much risk, I want, be a little more conservative and have a balanced approach. And so the client's objective is different from the objective of that particular account. But what many people do is that they look at the objective of the account and then they alter their objective to meet the account. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That's the wrong way to do it. You find the right account that matches your objective. So don't just look at the glitter and glamour of something because it may not match your objective, whether your objective is short-term, intermediate, or long-term. And that's the same way with purchasing. That's the same way with budgeting. Whether you are in business for yourself or you are running the business of yourself. When you have to make the decision, how can I afford it or how do I make it affordable? It depends on where do you put the control for the objective. Keep that control with you. Many times we lose the perspective of the objective when we are overconfident. That sounds good. I think I'm going to say that again. All right? Many times we lose the perspective of the objective when we are overconfident. When you're overconfident, you typically believe that, as sometimes the young folks will say, I got this, Dad. I got it. Okay, yeah, you got it. You're gonna have it until you lose it. All right? Now, overconfidence, is when we sometimes take more risk when we feel we are right. When you feel you're right, sometimes you'll take that added risk. Oh, yes, you will. Yeah, this is the right thing to buy right now. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it, honey. I know we only got one income right now. We're living check to check, but hey, I sure do need this. No, that's not a need. That's a want. And when you believe that we're going to make the money back. Who was it? That was I used to watch The Honeymooners with Ralph Crandon. Ralph Crandon had some as his wife Allison used to say, some harebrained schemes. But you know what? Some of his schemes came to true. Now the show came out back in the 40s and 50s, and now check this out. He talked about 3D TV and low-cal pizza. Okay? Check it out. Ralph Crandon talked about 3D TV and low-cal pizza. And guess what we got today? All right? Now, I know it's almost, 70 years later. We got 3D TV, curved TVs, 4D TVs, all types of stuff. And we got low-cal pizza. I know because I just had a slice. And, so hey, sometimes those things come to fruition, but will you be around to see it? So what may seem like a good idea now may take longer for it to come to fruition than you have available. It may take more time than you have available. So that's where you go back to the what? The objectives. So don't be so overconfident in something that you lose the perspective, all right, on how you're going to manage the accounts and how you're going to manage the budget. Remember now, there's another key thing that when you're dealing with budgeting and when you're dealing with debt, sometimes folks have what is called selective memory. I like to say sometimes selective amnesia. As human nature is such a thing that we tend to change, or some folks say recast history in a way that emphasizes our success and minimizes or downplays our failures. Yeah, it's like when you go to your high school reunion. When you go to after you've been out of school, high school for 5 years, and the stories aren't that big then. 10 years, okay. But when you start getting to your 20 and 25 and 30-year high school reunion, man, the stories of life become bigger and better, and their successes are grandiose, and nobody ever seems to have a failure. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to take a side step and say you don't have to wait for your high school reunion. Just go on Facebook. That's it. Just go on Facebook. Everybody on Facebook is doing great. Predominantly everyone. Oh, look at me. I'm this. I'm taking a selfie with this person. I'm taking a picture with that person. The Facebook tends to be is look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at my success. Look at my success. But they never tell you often how many times they fail. My wife and I, we did a study one time, and what it was is that every time, at least from what we saw, every time somebody was always talking about how good their husband was or how good their woman is, and talking about them, my man does this, my woman does that, they end up divorced. I said, wait a minute. Then wasn't that person just talking about their successes and then you look on Facebook and you don't see nothing? I said, wait a minute. A few months ago we see them traveling all together, and then now we started seeing pictures of the person by themselves with the dog, with the grandchildren, with someone else. Wait a minute. Where did that transition occur? See, what happens is people have selective memories. They only want to talk about their successes in their life. But the failures are important too. Because when failure is looked upon in the proper perspective, it can be a teaching tool. Now, when my wife and I look at them pictures, we ain't going to be on Facebook talking about, my man does this and my woman does. Nah, that's not for you to know. We share that with each other. And then longevity in marriage is our success together under God and before man. So now, when you work with those things, all right, don't work in fear. Don't work in greed. Don't be overconfident. Please don't have selective memory or selective amnesia, because that is a learning moment. It says that those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. And history will have your pluses and your minuses. The stock market will have pluses and minuses. You're going to have stop and go in life. There are going to be times of abound, and there's going to be times of abase. There's going to be times of seasons of plenty, and there's going to be seasons of few. But during that course, that time, during that essence, you learn how to stay within your boundaries. We would say stay in your lane, Because when you go outside those boundaries, you're tapping into the realm of debt. And you're trying to find your way back in or get things back under control. Another thing I want to point out is that what we call the prediction fallacy. The prediction fallacy when you're dealing with debt, when you're dealing with budget, is that we as humans have an innate desire to recognize patterns and apply these patterns to predict the future. We try. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, no one can predict the future. No one. So whether it's a new investment coming your way, whether it's a new product coming your way, whatever the case may be, whether it's someone who says they're going to take you, around the world, do all this stuff for you, they can't predict the future, and you should not allow them to give you the impression that you are accepting their prediction of the future. So here we are. As a matter of fact, the lyrics, and I want y'all to get a chance. If y'all get the chance, I want you to listen to the lyrics of Curtis Blow, These Are the Breaks. All right, listen to the lyrics. I'm not going to throw down with it right now, but just listen to the lyrics. He promised you a Cadillac. He didn't tell you it was 10 years old. He promised you a whole bunch of stuff. But those are the breaks. So when you think about those breaks, when you think about those things that occur, is that it's a prediction of fallacy. And debt often comes with that prediction fallacy. The reason is because we think that we have it under control. We begin to say, okay, we believe that because A occurred and B happened, that if A happens again, B will happen again. That's not necessarily so. If you say, well, you know what? Okay, if you stub your toe once and you said ouch, if you stub your toe a second time, you will say ouch again. Some people don't say ouch a second time. I'm trying to make it simple, but I want this is that's a prediction fallacy. Just because something happened once doesn't and got one result does not necessarily mean when it happens again it's going to get the same result. There are many moving factors in this financial realm and the aspects of life that could change that. And many times it may not even be under your control. Okay? Hey, how many of us, when we were younger, can work all day, work a 9 to 5, then change clothes and hang out from 7 to 4 in the morning? I know. We used to do that. Okay? We used to do that when we were young. So we did that then, but just because we were able to do it once doesn't mean we're going to get the same results now. Now you try working 9 to 5 and then hanging out from 7 to 4 in the morning. Come on. You'll probably sleep the next 3 days just trying to recover. Okay? Things change. Lifestyles change. There are many moving factors that help predict the way things are going to occur. So what we are going to do, we are going to continue talking about debt and the aspects of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to come back over the next over this series of lessons, and we're going to talk about once again the emotional side of debt, the greed, the overconfidence, the selective memory, the prediction fallacy, and where does it fall, and how can those things be good for us? How can those things be bad for us? How can those things? All right. This is what we need to do. We need to have real talk because some real things are occurring, and if we don't stay, what's the song go? Stay woke. All right. How Melvin and the Blue Notes used to say what? Wake up, everybody. no more sleeping in bed. Hey, it's time to wake up. And if we do not wake up when it comes to how we are going to manage debt, just think about the new tax laws and the reforms that happened in the blink of an eye. Now there is going to be a greater separation, and I say greater because there is one already, a greater separation between the haves and the have-nots. So where we once were primarily segregated based on ethnicity, now we're seeing a large population based on economics. Be ready, be prepared, and be wise. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, we are starting the new year off, and we want you to continue hitting us up with your questions, comments, and concerns, because we want to make sure that we get you the information you need to make a sound and educated decision for your family, your future, and your finances. We want you to continue to sign up on our website at tsmitchell.com. Sign up for a free financial newsletter. The financial newsletters are produced each and every time there's an adjustment in the taxes and the insurance and the investment industries. We produce these things right away, and we send out the financial newsletters once a month directly to your email, to your smartphone, right, to your tablet, to your computer. And you can also, if you sign up with us on Facebook at T.S. Mitchell Financial and Power Over Tomorrow, T.S. Mitchell Financial and Power Over Tomorrow, make sure you like us on Facebook. There are some good things on Facebook, okay? Like us on Facebook, and we will make sure that you continue to receive on a daily basis financial tips. If you're on Twitter, hit us up on T.S. Mitchell Power on Twitter. All right, we're going to make sure you get that information. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to leave you, so listen now. In your walk of life, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind forever be at your back. May the rain fall upon you ever so gently, and may the sun shine upon you with his warmth. Until the next time when we can cross each other's path, may the God of heaven hold you in the hollow of his hand. I am Tyrone T.S. Mitchell. This has been Power Over Tomorrow. Source Nation, Source Family. Be well, be blessed, and be your best.